Hello gamers, this is Th3Ruthless and welcome to another video. Today we're going to analyze everything about staff and wand. Before we start, I would like to thank everyone for watching my videos, for all the people that subscribed, for all the people that are coming to the stream and interact with me, and we're having fun, we're analyzing stuff, answering questions and everything. And because of that, I decided that on Saturday of 26th of October, for everyone that will come and see me live on Twitch, I will do a giveaway of 8 €25 Steam gift cards, so you guys can buy anything you want for the game, or any game. So first things first, you guys asked me to give you all the builds from Questlog. So what I've done, here you can find in my profile, I will link everything in the description. I have made a build with the green items, 2 builds with blue items, where you can mix and match depending on what you want to farm. The endgame build that I am going to use, this is for the hybrid one. Another build that we have that is for endgame healing, if you want to go healer. And this is a DPS test that I'm trying to make if I will turn and go to DPS, okay? So let's start off with open world PvP PvE. This is the build that I'm using when I go out hunting, either people or mobs. And let's go and see what is this. So I'm not gonna explain all the passives. I have done it in the another video, also with the active skills. You can pause the video and copy everything you need. I will go to skill specialization and explain everything there. So let's start off with the wand first, which has the less skills. So we are using swift healing. The first 2, it's to heal extra on ourselves, okay? And to use it 3 times in a row. This is very important for survivability. Also, we are using duration on blessed barrier, because it stacks well with our trait buff duration. And then let's go to the stuff. So we are using focused fire bombs. This is AoE for farming, especially in farming and PvE. But since we want one build to do everything, this will be used in PvP as well. Sometimes it works if people are clamped up. Usable skills while moving, really important, especially in PvP. And this is the chargeable that does extra damage and blah blah blah. You know this one. The new thing we implemented is Inferno Wave in order to have more burst with Fireball Barrage. So we reduce the cooldown to match the cooldown of focused fire bombs. We are using it 2 times with a 50% chance, and this is to apply more embers in order to use it with a fireball, because 1 fireball is added per stack if used against the target that has burned. What that means is that when we use the focused fire bombs and then Inferno Wave, we go to 10 stacks and then we use Fireball Barrage. We are exploding the enemy with 20 fireballs, okay? And the cooldown reduction. Chain Lightning and Judgment Lightning is castable, can be used 2 times. Chain Lightning is your instant spell AoE. This is good for farming and PvP as well. We have Ice Spear Bombardment, where we are using the skill... Then we have Ice Spear Bombardment. We are using this to change the spell to Ice Spear Bombardment. We're using this in order to bind our target so he cannot escape or he cannot get close to us. And this to increase the damage. Now, Victorious Energy is one of the most important defensive skills. We're putting Victorious Energy because it gives us enough hit to do not miss and a lot of evasion in order to be able to avoid especially melee people, okay? The same happens with the mobs, by the way. This is a very good defensive mechanism for mobs and players also. So now let's go. I will show you the rotation that you need to use. So let's say that we are gathering the mobs. We start the rotation by using the focused fire bombs, and then we go straight to Inferno Wave, and then we use Fireball Barrage if it's single target, and then we use all our AoE skills. Okay, this is the rotation. So let's say one more time: focused fire bombs, Inferno Wave to Fireball Barrage to Ice Spear Bombardment, and then we are using Judgment Lightning, Chain Lightning, and Judgment Lightning again. This is a full rotation. So in PvP though, things are a bit different, because when you see an enemy, if he wants to come and fight you, you have to start with Blessed Barrier on yourself and then start with the rotation of focused fire bombs. If he tries to go away, you start with Ice Spear Bombardment, okay? So a normal PvP rotation would look something like that. Say the enemy is coming to you, you start by using Blessed Barrier on yourself, then you start casting your firebombs to Inferno Wave, to Fireball Barrage, and then to Ice Spear Bombardment. Now, if you have taken damage, you heal yourself, and then you cast Lightning. Then you use, again, cooldowns on yourself, like Invincible Wall. If you take a lot of damage, you're using Victorious Energy. Then you are using your AoE heal if you took a lot of damage, and then you start again your rotation in order to burst him down. Then your cooldowns are coming back, again Blessed Barrier on yourself, and you continue the DPS. Now, as we said the previous time, I will show you also the defensive rotation, because if you use all your cooldowns at the same time, you are dead. So, if you are playing, for example, 1 versus 1, the first thing you want to put on yourself is the Blessed Barrier. So, you use Blessed Barrier while you fight. After quite a bit, you get to half HP, you fully heal yourself with Swift Healing. So now you have 17 seconds cooldown and 7 here. The next defensive skill you want to use, if you don't take a lot of damage, you use Invincible Wall. If you see that you take damage and the Invisible Wall is gone, you are using Victorious Energy. You are still healing yourself, and after a bit you will see that the Blessed Barrier is back on cooldown. So after you lose a bit of your HP, let's say half health again, you pop up fast the Blessed Barrier and you have the healing again to heal yourself. Now, in case of emergency, you can use an AoE skill. That's why we have it here. And also don't forget to use your potions. We have a recovery skill for mana, because we are farming as well, as I said. And if you want to go PvE, for example, you go somewhere that you know that you're not going to play PvP, what you have to change is this to this in order to get more damage. Like, for example, if you want to go on a dungeon, because with this build you can also heal in dungeon and DPS at the same time. So if you want to use this build in the arena, there are a couple of different things you can do. I use this sometimes, but when I go for 3 versus 3 with a team, I do not use this. This is only for solo, that I can have my fun, and I usually do not heal the other people but me, because I'm the one that is trying to carry the team. So if you play with your friends, what you have to do is to remove the extra damage you use in order to melt people, unfortunately, and you use Ice Stomp and Sleep, and you go to skill specialization and you remove the Inferno Wave and you put this on Cursed Nightmare. Okay, so this is if you play 3 versus 3, because you can Ice Stomp the one target, you can Cursed Nightmare the other target, and then there's only one guy and you all go DPS on this guy and you can kill him in 5 seconds. Now, in case you don't want to play with both CCs, what you can do is you can remove the Sleep and you can go back to your extra damage. There we go. Or if you don't want the extra damage, you can go and have 1 CC and mana regen. This is something you can play with, but you will have to remove the points from here, and you can either use them here to be immune to CC and the effect duration in order to have more time to get mana, and then you put one on the projectile speed in order to have the full focused firebomb. Actually, the instant is good for arena, but you know, sometimes you have to sacrifice something to get something else. And now let's move on to the second build, that is the pure healing and support build. With this build you are going for GVG. If you want to play small scale PvP as a support, this is the build you have to go for. This is also for dungeons and any other PvE activity. As I said, it's a full support build and can go with everything. So here you can copy the build, you can pause for some seconds, or you can find everything in Questlog as well. I have put them up there as well. Let's start off with the skill specializations. We'll go first with the stuff that's only a few ones. We only use this as a single target damage. It's optional, really. From everything else, I just chose this one. And we have on high focus, we expand the skill and give damage to all of our party and cooldown reduction. And moving over to wand, we have everything on swift healing, extra heal on us when we're healing someone else, 3 times the skill to be used. We have increased range, and we have additional mana to the allies. So you are also a battery to the mana starving classes. Then we have Cursed Nightmare with Karmic Haze. This is called Sleep Bomb. You sleep someone and then you spread the curse to everyone. This is purely PvP. You can do it on PvE, but it doesn't really matter. You're not going to be the one that does the damage. Clay Salvation is the AoE heal we're using. We remove one weaken effect from the party and we increase our range so people can be further around us. Always on Blessed Barrier we use the duration increased. This doesn't change with any build that we play. Maybe apart from pure DPS. Invincible Wall spread to the party in increased radius. And then we are using Fountain of Life because it's another battery skill. Recovers 40 mana when heals. Fountain of Life radius is increased and the duration is also increased. So how do we use this build? If you are playing PvE, you start off by using high focus for the party members to give them extra damage. You use your shield and heal when people take damage, this is obvious. For the tank also, or the guys that take more damage, you use Blessed Barrier first thing first in order to protect them. And then you use your Swift Healing, which is your best single target healing that you have. Now, if it's PvE and people are clamped up, which is easier, you use your Fountain of Life whenever you have it on cooldown because it gives them mana as well. And we also have Inner Peace in order to recover our mana. It is pretty straightforward. We have this that is an escape for you if you're playing PvP. And remember that if you are playing PvP with this build, with this particular build, you always have to stay in the back. If you want to play in the front lines, what you have to do is you have to switch this high focus to this in order to have evasion and survive for yourself. Okay, but that's the only case. Other cases, we play these two skills. I don't think there's something more to explain. The only thing I can give you as an info is like when you are trying to attack an enemy party, you will always start with Invincible Wall, and the target that from your party that is going in front will always get the Blessed Barrier, or the party member that the enemies are going to focus will get the Blessed Barrier. Apart from that, if you see that people are focusing you, you give your Blessed Barrier to yourself, and then you throw a heal under your legs, under your feet, and cast the heals, and then you can escape. That's pretty much it. You also have Icebound Tomb, so if a tank approaches you in order to CC you or anything like that, you Ice Tomb them instantly and you're moving away in order to be protected by your party. And now let's move on to the third and final build, which is the pure DPS build. So last but not least, we have the full DPS spec. I will start from the one because we have the least skills. We go for Touch of Despair. We only use this one because we want to apply 2 stacks, because what we want to reach is always to have 3 stacks of this Touch of Despair on the mob or the boss or whatever. Then we have the Cast Explosion that give us 10% damage boost per stack, so 3 stacks means 30% damage boost on the Cast Explosion. And we have Focus Target to make it a single target spell. I will say to you later what we do if we want to do AoE. And then Time of Punishment, we increase the duration by 3 seconds. Now off to the stuff. It's the same exactly as we do in the first build. So we have Focused Fire Bombs, we have the projectile speed because we had the 3 points, so it's easier for us. Inferno Wave, Chain Lightning, Fireball Barrage, Judgment Lightning, and Nice Spear without the bind now, because this is mostly PvE. It's full DPS and it's mostly PvE. It can be used in PvP as well, but I believe the hybrid is better if you want to survive. And we have high focus with damage. And yeah, let's go and see the rotation. Before we see the rotation, this is the build. You can copy the passive skills from here. So the rotation goes like this. First we use high focus, then high focus, Time for Punishment. Then we go for Focused Fire Bombs, Touch of Despair, Inferno Wave, Fireball Barrage, Ice Spear Bombardment. Then we use Touch of Despair again, our Lightnings, then Time for Punishment again, and then we use Cast Explosion. So let's go into it. It looks like this. And this is our full rotation. I don't know if you guys noticed that the practice dummy was standing on 865k, so that was about 8k damage rotation. Okay. I said this because many people say that Staff Wand does not have damage. Of course, it has a lot of damage. Wand is also a DPS item, not just healing, so people should not expect whoever who has Wand to heal. If you want to go full DPS, this is the build you can use. This is the best single target DPS because this single target, okay, single target DPS, and it has amazing damage. And the good thing about this game is that every weapon combination can make it happen, okay? That's the best thing about this game. Now, if you would want to make this an AoE DPS and not single target, because this is single target, you would have to use this one, okay? Corrupted Magic Circle, and also you would remove this from the Focused Firebombs and put it here in Karmic Haze. So what would you like to do? I will do it right now for you and show you. I will put this here, and I will put this. I would put this. Let's say I would replace. Maybe change. No, let's replace a single target skill. Okay. So the AoE rotation is like the following. We start always again with high focus and time for punishment. Okay, and then we use focused firebombs, Inferno Wave, Fireball Barrage, Touch of Despair, and our lightning skills. And then we go again for time for punishment. We use our AoE Corrupted Magic Circle. We spread everything with Karmic Haze, and then we explode everything with Ket's Explosion. Okay, let's see this working. There we go. And this is it. So this is a spec that I'm using to compete in secret dungeons in Gate of Infinity, that I need the full DPS in order to take the first ranks. Guys, it is very important that if you want to play the full DPS build and you want to act as a DPS in the game, you have to go, your stats have to be bonus damage, critical hit chance, and heavy attack chance. This is really important because the hybrid and the healer that we are playing are something completely different from this build. When we move on later on the video, you will understand that we are going for completely different traits. So I will remind you, if you want to play DPS, you have to go for extra damage, critical hit chance, and heavy hit chance. Okay? Now, this is the most important thing we're gonna talk about, and everyone is waiting for, is to talk about the traits and the stats we will need. So let's start with the defensive stats. We have 6 different defensive stats, 3 evasions and 3 endurances. I would suggest you do not go for endurance. Endurance is only for the tanks, okay? And I will explain why. When we go for evasion, we completely avoid a skill or an auto attack. That means what? That if the enemy tries to give us a CC, like bind or stun, first they have to go through our evasion, okay? If you go and play for endurance, in order to avoid all this CC, you have to play with CC resistance, okay? Bind resistance, stun resistance, sleep resistance, etc, etc. So, evasion used as a double spot. That means that first you get to completely avoid damage directly, and also you can avoid CC. With the endurance, you will get hit by the CC, you will get hit by the damage, but you will take less damage. We are not tanks, we are healers, we are low HP characters, and we want to avoid every amount of damage and CC as possible. Okay. So, if you would see here, I'm on right now on 1700 melee evasion, and I went for melee evasion and only for the reason that the only class that can completely stun us is daggers, greatswords, and SNS. So, we want to avoid all of this, so we go for melee evasion. There is no reason to go for ranged evasion or magic evasion as well. You can only choose one evasion. This game works with the defenses as rock, paper, scissors. Like rock will always beat scissors, scissors always paper, and paper always rock. Okay, so The one that we always wanna beat are the melee because they can stun us. Every other class we can out-heal. It doesn't matter what they do, if we are rooted in place, we stay rooted in place, we put buffs on, we put everything on, and we can survive. And potions even, whatever, okay? So, since we established what we have to do for the defenses, let's go and talk about the stat points and how to use them. So, if you play as hybrid, the most important thing is the hit chance. Because as we go for melee evasion, other people will go for evasion as well, and we don't want to miss. Then we need to reach 30 wisdom. Right now I made some changes, so I don't have 30 wisdom, but I don't know, it's not really important, okay? But always max mana is very nice for a healer because we get extra heal, we take extra mana regen, etc. Dexterity is not really important for us. The critical hit chance is not really important for us because we have well-balanced stats with HP, mana, damage and hit, so we do not need the crit chance for now. Even if we play against people that use endurance, we just have to out-heal them and not to kill them instantly. So, strength 30 for max health, wisdom 30 for max mana, and perception 60 is very, very important. In the late game, we will even go for perception 70 if we manage to. Okay. You can see also my stats at the Questlog. Even in the end game for tier 1 at least, they are exactly the same with more wisdom because we want to have the cooldown speed, which is important. Right now on my character I don't have so many items to reach that wisdom, but this is the plan. Now the other stats that are really, really important to us is cooldown reduction and buff duration. For example, in this build I have managed to build up buff duration to 60% and cooldown reduction to 35%. Also some skin damage boost, but this is not the most important. It's very beneficial, don't get me wrong, but the most important is buff duration and cooldown speed. And why is this the most important? Okay, so now let's see why it is so important. Okay, so let's say my buff duration is plus 33%. Okay, when you have the base stats, let's say, this blessed barrier stands on your character for 6 seconds. Okay, for 6 seconds. If I place blessed barrier on me now with a 33% chance, 33% buff duration, that means that the buff will stay 33% times longer. So in 6 seconds, 33% is 2 more seconds. So, and for the first 2 seconds, as it says, the buff, you get an initial buff and a second buff. It's 6 plus 2, 8 seconds. So I will have 3 seconds almost of initial buff and 8 seconds of the blessing. So look at this. If I press blessed barrier on me, I will have 3 seconds of the initial buff and 8 seconds of the blessed barrier. This is super, 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 super important because you are winning time. You want cooldown reduction in order to lower your cooldowns and buff duration in order for the buffs to stay more time on you. So you have one buff, victorious energy, that helps for your defenses. Second buff is the blessed barrier that helps you again with the defenses. And third buff is the invincible wall, which is a shield. So you get all these to stay longer. So in order to recap, we want as much as max health as possible in the items that we have. We want a lot of hit because hit is very important in order so we cannot miss our skills. We want buff duration and we want cooldown reduction. This is really, really important. And do not forget, for the defensive, we need melee resistance, melee evasion. Sorry. So now, there is another thing you can do. If you are playing healer and you are playing always on the back, the only person that can come to you and is a good player will be maybe the tanks. Unless your team peels, the only other thing that can kill you is a crossbow dagger with bombing. With the AoE that they are doing, and there are 2 or 3. Because one, you can avoid, you can stun him by yourself, you can CC him, you can use blessed barriers on you and out-heal him. If you have problem with crossbow daggers so much, which I don't believe it's the case, you can go for ranged evasion. I would highly, highly, highly recommend and suggest go full melee evasion is your best friend. Okay. So, for me, the last 2 most important stats that you need to have in your gear is the bind resistance, because Now you have covered that melee will not catch you with so much melee evasion, and with your buff on. With your buff on, you're a god versus melee. You need something to avoid getting bind from ranged, and this is bind resistance. Okay, we have 310 bind resistance, and the bind resistance, the other guy, in order to catch you in bind, he has to have bind chance, and not many people will have bind chance. So there is a good opportunity for you to avoid getting bound. And also skill damage resistance, because we bet everything on melee, we need to get skill damage resistance in order to avoid a bit of damage from every other class. I think this sums up everything for the class and for the builds. If you guys remember that if you need anything, I'm streaming daily, nighttime hours of course. You can come to my stream and ask me whatever you want. I'm also answering on the comments on YouTube. Whatever you want, you can always ask me. Do not forget that. So I think this sums up everything. I would like to thank you guys for watching my videos and for all the support that you have shown me. I will keep making videos and trying to make your experience better in the game. I hope you really enjoy the game and you really enjoy these classes. You know where to find me. Anything you need, I'm at your disposal. Until then, enjoy the game and have a good one. Bye bye.